Okay, Andrea told me that at least one person has requested I'll call it lived-in video for the coop, as in the coop has been operational for about 2 years and 3 months, 2 years, 4 months. So it's been up and operational for a while now, and you know, what we like about the coop, what we don't like about the coop, etc. And so what I want to do is go through the history of how we got to this, and then some of the things we did, and then go through what I think about the coop. And Sherlock over there is going to help. So this coop design, what I call the basis of design, is from, we were looking at, there's a company called Carolina Coops. They're out of North Carolina. And what they do is they have large coops that can be, some can be smaller, some can be bigger than this. But what you do is you buy a kit, and so everything is cut, everything is done already, it comes in on pallets, and then all you have to do is assemble it. Or for an extra charge, they can come out and actually install it for you. It's not cheap, but some people are like, I want to have chickens, but I don't want to have to deal with building a coop, so I'll just pay somebody and let them do it. So their coops are really nice, and so I wanted to take what I call the essence of that coop design and then marry it to our own. And so let me go to the south side here. Now, the Carolina coop ones, at least at the time when I was looking at them, are all what they call gable roofs. And let me show you what that is real quick. All right, this is our house here, and this is a gable roof where you got a slope on one side, slope on the other side, and then just a wall that goes up. That's one of the quintessential roof types. And so the Carolina Coops roofs, that's what those are. I did not want to do that for ours, so let me go back. Okay. Ours is what they call a shed roof. And what a shed roof is let me come around to the side, is it's just a straight shot. It's just a one slope and that's it. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because with coops, you need to have proper ventilation for a coop. And ventilation means, let me get away from the wasp nest. Ventilation is that right there. So these sections are all open and I got mesh through them. And then over on the north side, we have mesh here also. Now what that does is that allows airflow into and out of the coop, but it's higher than the chickens. So you can have it in the wintertime, and it can allow the gases and stuff that the chicken waste produces, and it vents it out. But at the same time, it does not give direct wind or breeze onto the chickens themselves. And so I felt having a shed roof would work better for that than a gable roof. Because with a gable roof, you'd have to have a vent in the center, And this was the most complicated building we've ever done. The other big building was our shed over there, but this was a lot more complicated than that. And I didn't want to make it any more complicated than it needed to be, because it's complicated enough already. Then the second thing is, with the Carolina coops, you could pick different colors for your roofing material. Oh, what we picked was just standard metal roof color. This is called Galvalume, and it's just a standard metal roof color. And the reason why we wanted this is that reflects the heat very good. It reflects it so well that in the summertime, when it's literally 100 degrees out with no clouds and the sun beating down in the middle of the day, I can go into the coop, I can put my hand like this, and it's not hot to the touch. It's warm, but it's not hot to the touch. And so the other thing with that venting is, between the roof and between the venting, the ambient temperature inside of the coop is typically about 1 to 2 degrees of outside temperature, unless there's a big temperature swing. So like right now, I think it's like 83, 84 degrees outside. It's going to be about 83, 84 degrees in the coop. Because for about a year or so, on the inside of the coop, about right here, about right there, we had a temperature gauge which monitored the temperature, and without fail, it was within about 1 degree. Now, the Carolina coop, what they do is, let me open this. Actually, let me open up both sides. All right, what they do is, for chicken capacity in the coop, they do 1 linear foot of your roost space per chicken. Now, anybody that's ever had chickens, the chickens will actually occupy a significantly less spot than that, because the chicken is probably about that wide. And so we can get 2 chickens in and out of the door at the same time. You know, they don't like it, but they'll do it if there's like food or something that they want to get to real quick. So basically what they'll do, oh, here comes Fight Club. And so we wanted to have a run which had a maximum of 24 chickens. So we have 4 roosts that are 6 feet long. And these roosts, what these are 2x6s that I ripped in half. So let me zoom out. So this is actually like 2 3/4. So if you take 2 of these and put them together, they make a 2x6. So I just, on my table saw, I just ripped it like this. And then I chamfered the corners here on the table saw, so there was not any hard edges. And then I went in and then I sanded it with the orbital sander to make sure that there was no hard spots for them. And so now Carolina coops, since we've done this, they will put like some type of rope or something and put it around these. Andrea wants to do that. I'm kind of mixed feelings about it because I think it'll take forever to do it, but that's a story for another day. But while we're inside of here, one thing that we did is, everywhere that we have an opening, we have 1/2 inch mesh And uh, me not knowing anything about chickens before we started our little experiment, I thought that chicken wire was for chickens. Now that's actually kind of a misnomer, because this hardware mesh is to protect the chickens from something coming from the outside getting to them. And chicken wire basically won't protect squat. But this hardware mesh will. Now on the flip side, this hardware mesh is expensive. So I know that the hardware mesh was a significant percentage of the overall budget of the chicken coop. But at the end of the day, you know, it was a necessary evil. Now, the hardware mesh that we have on the top there, they make what they call solar power hardware mesh. And the solar power hardware mesh is designed for rooftop solar power units. And it's to keep birds from making nests in between the solar panel and the roof. And so they make them that are 6 inches wide and 8 inches wide. So I bought that, which is on the top there, that was 6 inches high. And so that's how that was done. And then on the chicken tractor, I bought some that were 8 inches high. That's the rooster right there. He's trying to encourage the girls to make nests right there, so that's always kind of funny. Now, the method that the litter method for the bedding that Carolina Coops likes to use is what they call the deep litter method, using hemp. And so, all right, let me close this. Okay, I shut that side, then he goes away. So that's what we do. And so we get hemp bedding and we put it in here, and then every couple of months we throw another hemp bedding in there. And then at the end of the year, which for us will be like April or May, then we clean the whole thing out, and then we start over again. And so by the time next spring rolls around, this hemp bedding will be probably twice as thick as it is right now. The theory is that the hemp bedding is brown, the chicken waste is green from a composting standpoint. So it starts prematurely, or not prematurely, starts pre-composting the stuff. And I like it because the one, I only have to change it once a year, and two, the hemp has significantly less dust in it than other things. Because when we first got them and we had the brooder on the inside, we didn't know anything about chickens, so we just got just regular pine shavings, and that was horrible. We had dust everywhere in like 5 seconds. And so you still get dust with the hemp, but not nearly as much. But what I did was, because the hemp bedding would get about a foot tall, I wanted the chickens to be a foot taller than the top of the bedding. And so I made the roost 2 feet taller than the base here. And then the nest boxes were a foot taller than the base. And so then as the bedding got higher, it would not interfere with the chickens sleeping or with the nest boxes. And in the 2 times that we've had to cycle this out, that's been the case. And so now let's see here, while we're on the inside, Carolina Coops, they went a little more above and beyond as what we did. On the floor here, what I did is, if you look at that, that's basically the OSB flooring, and then I put multiple coats of I think Kills on it. That's what the white stuff is here. And so we knew it was going to get some sort of liquid on it, you know, because of the chicken waste, but we were anticipating it not like being full of water. Carolina Coops goes the next step, and they actually use more of a food grade type material. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, where it's technically better than this, but it's also significantly more expensive. Where I can buy an OSB sheet for about $15, and Kills is not that expensive. You know, these sheets can be like hundreds of dollars or something. And, you know, that wasn't in our budget, so that's what we've done here. And again, this has been pretty successful over the 2 years, where I've had to go under the coop before, and there's been no water damage from underneath, or that I could see from underneath looking up. So while I have this door open, one thing that I had a problem with for a long time was water getting in from when it rained. Originally, this 2x4 was not here, and this piece was not here. And what would happen is it was a combination of the water would hit the side here, come down, and then go in that way. And it was also a combination, oh, and there's ML. And then there's a combination of that, and inadvertently, these doors here would get pushed in too much, and then water would come in on the bottom. And we were having a big problem on this door and the door on the storage, which I'll get to in a minute. And so over a lot of trial and error, mainly error, we came up with the solution that we have now, which is what we call an eyebrow here, which is a 2x4. And so this 2x4 goes all the way across, and then I caulked the top of it here, and it's at a slight angle, which you can see there. It's not at a really big angle, but it is at a slight angle. And so I just ripped that on the table saw. Close that before ML gets any ideas. And then that little piece of board helps keep the door from going too far in. This one's not that bad of a problem, but the side one is a major problem. So on the side door here, every time it would rain, this whole bottom piece would just be wet. And it didn't matter if it would be like light rain or we would get like monsoons. If it was monsoons, I could barely shut the doors because they would absorb so much water and swell up. And so again, we put the eyebrow here, and we put this piece here, and that pretty much eliminated the problem. So the other thing we did is we put some weather stripping on, and so that weather stripping is starting to come off, so I might have to reapply it. But between all of that, we have eliminated like 95% of the water. Sometimes we'll get like a really hard horizontal rain and we'll get a little bit of water in here, but it's not nearly as bad as it used to. Now, one of the differences between our design and the Carolina Coop's design is we needed storage because our house does not have a garage, and our storage building is all the way over there. So every time we wanted to get something, like food, or like I had to get grit today. I did not want to have to walk all the way over to that storage building and back to do that. So we wanted to have a little storage area here. And because of that, Andrea wanted to have the nest boxes inside of the structure, because the Carolina coop designs will have the nest boxes sticking out on the side like most coops do. But Andrea didn't want that. She wanted them actually inside so we could close it up and not have to worry about it. Actually, the little coop here, the little coop over there actually has the nest boxes sticking out the back of the actual coop itself. So we come in here and we have 5 nest boxes. I don't know how well you can see with the sun. Yeah, maybe that's better. And let me open this up. All right, I wanted to have the ability to open this up all the way when I needed to, but most of the time I did not want to have that door open all the way up. I just wanted to have it open enough so we could get eggs or do maintenance on the nest boxes or something and not have it open all the way. So when the doors are out all the way like this, I can open it all the way up. And if the doors are not out like that, then it just opens up a little bit. And evidently the rooster agrees. Now, if you see a bunch of chicken poop, especially in this nest box, Fight Club, who's also Charlton Hestia, she likes sleeping in that nest box. We don't know why she sleeps in there, but she does. She doesn't go broody. She just likes sleeping in that nest box. And so these nest boxes, we could find them locally, but when we needed them, we couldn't get them. I think we had to order them. And they're obviously plastic. And they have a little hole in the bottom so you can rinse them out if you need to. But they've held up really nice. And they say the rule of thumb is to have up to 5 chickens per nest box. And we would have a maximum of 24 chickens. So we have 5 nest boxes. Evidently the rooster's not happy with me on something. So, but as you can see here, we got a bunch of storage in here. I got food buckets in here. We have our soldier fly larvae. We got our oyster shells. We have our grit. We have our panels that we put up in the winter. These panels here we put up in the winter time. So we live in South Carolina and it doesn't really get that cold here, but it does get windy. And so if you see these here, those plexiglass pieces actually fit in between each slat. So the chickens will not get direct drafts on them in the wintertime. And we don't get really snow or anything, and it doesn't really get too cold. So we can have that, and we don't need to board the whole thing up. And so we'll put that up probably around Thanksgiving time. It'll probably be in November sometime. And then we'll take it up at like the beginning of May. So it's like a 6 month on, 6 month off. And the same thing with the windows. The windows, like it's September, so it's still summertime now. And we'll have the windows open, and then we will close them as it gets cooler. And because we don't have direct venting on the fourth side. I added that window up there, which is so we could have, you know, airflow on all four sides. I know it's not at the same height as the chickens, but you know, it'll be what it is. So now what we did for the base here is, this is a 4x4 base that we have all the way around. I put a 2x4 on top of it and then screwed them together so it looks like that. And that's what the base of this thing looks like. And so we leveled the ground before we did everything. I think I spent like 2 days leveling the ground to make sure it was nice and level. It's pretty flat here, so leveling it wasn't that bad. And then, I don't know why everybody is so animated. And so, then we went up from there. Hold on. I've been letting them out a little after 6 o'clock, and it's after 5 o'clock now, so I think they're telling me that they want to go out. But the guys are out, so they're not going out right now. And so basically, after this got built, other than the water in the door issue, the only other problem that we had was the door going into and out of the coop. So I'm going to see if I can go in without them bum rushing me. So hold on a second. All right, Rooster's going to start crowing, and I'm going to be in here, and it's going to be loud as all get out. And so what was happening was Andrea was getting up at sunrise. Will you stop that? Andrea was getting up at sunrise and opening the door, and then at sunset I was closing the door, and we were doing that every night. And then after a couple months, Andrea says, I don't care what you say, we got to get an automatic door. And I said, they're expensive, and she goes, I don't care, we're doing it anyway. So we ended up with an automatic door. And so I did not want to get a door that had a string on the door itself. I wanted to have a door that was like this. And Andrea liked Chicken Guard as a manufacturer, and that literally had just come out. And so that's what we've got. We have to change the battery about once a year, but other than that, we set it for sunrise and sunset. So once it gets to an ambient light in the morning, it will automatically open, and once it gets to an ambient darkness at night, it will close. And so the other thing that Andrea wanted to do that's different than most coops is she wanted the cleats here on the ramp to be closer together, because she was seeing a bunch of chicken videos where those were a lot further apart and the chickens would be slipping up and down the ramp. And so she wanted them nice and close together. So I think those are like 5 inches apart, if I remember. I can't remember off the top of my head, so that's what that is. That is a 2x12, and then those are just 1x2 cleats on them. And see, Ern is showing us right now how good they go up and down and they don't slip at all. So there's Roadrunner there, who quit laying eggs on us, which is evidently a Moran thing. We gave them a pumpkin the other day, so they've been chowing down on that. Unlike the watermelon, it takes them several days to go through a pumpkin. That's because it's not 90% water. So on the inside, I don't know if I can find one, but it was recommended to put some rebar through the 4x4s and pound it into the ground. So I have 4 rebar in the corner there, and then I have 2 or 3 more on each side. And basically I just drilled holes at an angle and then just pounded them into the ground, and that's to help with the wind loading. We've had wind gusts, I would say easily 50, if not 55, 60 miles an hour. This coop has not budged once. Not to say it won't budge, but it hasn't budged yet. We added, that's good stuff. We added these roof clips here. They're not full hurricane clips like if this was a house, because the full hurricane clip would be a lot bigger than this. But you know, this is a chicken coop, not a house. And then on the outside, if you saw earlier, I added some clips on the outside, or some bracing on the outside to help with that. So it's just not the screws that are holding this thing together. I have actual clips holding it together. So when I go back out, I'll show that. Now, originally when I designed the roof of this, I was going to do a traditional type rafter where it's going to be like 2x4s every 2 feet or something. And I quickly realized that this was a chicken coop, not a house, and it didn't need that. So I adjusted the design, and these are 2x4s every 4 feet. And then I put a 2x4 going across this way in the center. And that ended up being really good, because when we came in, when we installed the roof, we installed it on the coop side first, and then we, with the ladder, just worked our way back till we got to the end. And with those rafters being at 4 feet on center, I could easily go in between the rafters and with the ladder and be able to screw those roof panels down. Now the reason, hi Fight Club, get out of my way. Now the reason why this one is like this is because this roof panel ends right here, and we built the coop first, and then we built the run. And the reason why we did that is because we did what all normal, insane people that never had chickens before. We got chickens, and then we figured out what to do with them. So we got the chickens, and we had them in a brooder, and we got one of those little Tractor Supply coops. And the little Tractor Supply coop was the little metal one, which is probably a little bit smaller than that. And we just said, okay, it said up to 6 chickens, so that's what we're gonna do. I gotta get away from them for a minute because they're giving me a headache right now. So I'm gonna come over here. And so what happened was, that's how we got the evolution to this, is we got that Tractor Supply coop, I put it together, and then if you see over there, in between the two sheds is a dog kennel. And so the idea was we would have that Tractor Supply coop inside of that dog kennel, and then we would have the dog kennel to give them a little bit more room. And so the run requirement for chickens, if you're going to keep them in a run like we do and not have them free range, is about 10 square feet per chicken minimum. And it's like, well, we got 10 chickens, that kennel is 10 by 10, perfect. Well, short version is obviously that coop was not going to be big enough. As soon as I installed the coop and did a video, it says, "Ooh, we got our coop." Everybody's like, "Yeah, that's not going to be big enough." And so I'm like, all right. Luckily, since the coop was not used, we took it back to Tractor Supply. They gave us a full credit for it, and they did not have to install it, so that was actually good from their standpoint. But the chickens were growing and they had no place to live. And so we got the chickens at the beginning of March in 2023. And between everything, we did not start construction on the coop until the beginning of April. So the chickens were already 4 weeks old by the time we started construction on this coop. And so, you know, I had to work, Andrea had to work, you know, our regular jobs. But when I wasn't doing that, I was out here building this chicken coop. And I tracked my hours and Andrea's hours during that time. And it took us like 160 man hours or a little more to actually build this chicken coop. And we did that in 28 days. And a lot of that was fueled because the chickens were in a brooder. They were not getting any smaller and they had to go outside. So we built the coop first. And then once the coop itself was finished, then we took them out here and had them in the coop, obviously with the door to the run closed. And we also had the nest boxes closed because they were like 6-7 week old chickens. They didn't need to be in the nest boxes. And then while they were in there, we were out here finishing the rest of the run. And so the main thing was to get them out here. And then once we got them out here, then we could relax just a little bit in order to get the rest of the run done. Then I remember two things about building that run. One day I came out, I think I was installing hardware mesh, which means the walls were up, the roof was up, and I was just putting mesh up, and then a downpour came, and this wasn't like a garden variety shower, this was like a mega thunderstorm. And so I was just stuck out there with the chickens. Now granted, they were in the coop, I was in the run, so I was just stuck out there until the rain let up. So I thought that was funny. And then the other thing was, it was the day that it was ready and they could go out. We opened the thing out and nobody wanted to go out. They were all used to the coop. They liked the coop. Nobody wanted to go out. And so we had to basically force them all out. I mean, now, of course, it's a different story, but it was just funny that we spent all that time trying to get this run done, and then we got it done, and then nobody wanted to go out. So I thought that was funny. Oh, I forgot one other thing. These roof panels are 12 feet long. Roof panels that you buy are either 8 feet long or 12 feet long. That's the standard lengths. And so these are 12-foot long panels. And what I didn't want to do was have to cut roof panels. We really don't have the ability to cut the roof panels efficiently, and you know, that's 36 feet of roof panel right there, and I really was not interested in doing that. So what I wanted to do is, let me come over here, is I wanted to have an overhang on the south side here. So this is like a 3-foot overhang on the south side, and on the north side it's about a 6-inch overhang. So I wanted to have just enough overhang on the north side so I could put my little mesh down for my ventilation, and then on the south side I wanted to have the rest of the 12-foot panel. And the reason I wanted to do that is in the summertime, it's not showing right now because we're in September, but in July the sun gets to about right there, and all of this is shaded. So in the summertime, especially during the heat of the day, the chickens are shaded 100% of the time. In the morning, if they want sun, there's sun over there, and in the afternoon, if they want sun, there's sun over there. But in the daytime, I wanted to make sure that when it was so hot that they were shaded, and they had a lot of the run, if not the entire run, that they could roam around in and not have to worry about the sun. So now, since we built the coop, we decided that we were going to build a chicken tractor, which is over here, and I had to put a door in for the chicken tractor, which is right there. And so the chicken tractor, we've used this for a few things. We cured our garlic in it last year. I've had the sisters out here on like cloudy days and stuff. This chicken tractor weighs about 600 pounds, but we had a wind gust come in, and we had a white tarp on top of this thing. And that wind gust was enough to move the chicken tractor, and I didn't have a door on the run side, and so I came out and just looked out the back door, and the chickens were out, and they had never been out before, so they were just like all over the place having a good time. And so Andre and I freaked out and got them back in. Now, of course, you know, they're spoiled rotten and they demand that they go out a lot. But overall, I would say that this coop is good. Oh, you can see all the bracing here. I have them every so often here, and then I also have them at the top there. So the reason I put those in is that I did not want just regular screws to be the only thing in an uplift situation keeping the roof on this thing. I wanted to make sure that it had more protection. I'm less concerned about this because it's really heavy. I was more concerned about the run area. And one other thing, while I'm thinking about it, I read a lot of articles and saw a bunch of videos about whether to use pressure treated or not pressure treated wood, and I determined that the pressure treated wood that was really harmful was eliminated out of the wood industry a long time ago. So if I built this in like the 70s, that, or 80s or something, that pressure treated wood is different than the pressure treated wood that's built today. That pressure treated wood that was back then had chemicals in it that, if ingested, could really hurt or be fatal to the chickens, or ingested, or if they got splinters or something. This pressure treated wood that they do today doesn't have those chemicals in it. Now, on the flip side, the pressure treated wood isn't nearly as good as it used to be, but that's because the chemicals are different. But I decided that I wanted to have the entire coop and run and everything to be made out of pressure treated wood. So there's no regular inside dimensional lumber in the coop or in the run. It's all pressure treated. And that's just something that different people have different opinions on, but that was the opinion I came up with. And Sherlock's proud of himself. But so I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, the siding. Let me get to that real quick. Okay, this piece of siding right here is not painted. This is an OSB siding material. So it's like the same thing that's on the outside of the house. It's the same thing as this, except that has the grooves in it and it's primed, which means that you don't have to prime the outside of this, you just have to paint it. And it was the same material we used on the shed, and this stuff costs a little bit more, but the fact that you don't have to prime it and that it's OSB and not plywood for this type of situation was really good. We haven't had a problem with it at all. And like I said, this has been over 2 years in a very hot, humid environment. And let me show you the well real quick. Okay, over here is our well house. And I'm going to be lazy and not go over to it, but the siding on that was exterior grade plywood siding that has grooves in it. As you can see, the little vertical grooves, but it's not primed. And so when Andre and I were painting that, we put an inordinate amount of paint and primer on that thing in order to actually get it to work. So whatever money we saved by getting that sheathing, we spent in primer and paint, because the wood was just soaking it up. So any type of exterior thing that's like this, I would highly recommend. I forget, it's called Smart something or other. Smart siding or something, that's what it's called. But when it's something like with the shed there, you know, I really don't care what that shed looks like as long as it's protected good enough. So, you know, it can be the siding material and it can be the sheathing all at the same time. And in where we live, which is Horry County, South Carolina, you can build a structure, as long as you're not living in it, up to 200 square feet without a permit. So that shed's 192 square feet. And the chicken coop, it's obviously a chicken coop. This was built without a permit, because agricultural buildings, you don't need to have a permit within reason. And so the carport, which is sitting next to the shed over there, that was more than 200 square feet. And so we had to get a permit and everything for that, which we did. And then the county had to come out and do all of their inspections and stuff for it. And then the assessor had to come out, so then they could sock us with the most amount of money as possible for it. You know, because the county's got to have their money. and they did not say anything about our shed or our chicken coop. And if we would have built a shed that was basically the size of that carport, then they would have said, you know, where's your permit for this? And then we would have gotten in trouble. And since Andre and I are in the construction industry, we don't want to be on the bad side of the county. And so we always like doing everything on the up and up. See, the guys decided that they want to have a little fun. And so, anyway, trying to see how long this video has been. All right, I've been yakking for almost an hour now. I can't believe I've been yakking for almost an hour. It's no wonder the guys are a little on the restless side. So it's probably after 6 o'clock, which is probably why the chickens are freaking out on me. So I got to feed the guys, and then I got to let them out, do their nightly routine. So I will post this video, and posted another video today on the field. So I'll probably post this tomorrow. So I think that's it. Andrea will probably think of something else, and if it's important enough to her, she'll do her own video. So I think that's it on the coop. The cost of the coop, the labor cost of the coop was about $3,500 in 2023 when we built it. I don't know what that would equate to in 2025 numbers. Like I said, the hardware mesh, I don't know, it was like, I want to say like $450 out of that. So it was a significant portion. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to have an animal go in there and get them. And that hardware mesh is unfortunately the best thing for it. So I think the guys want to go in and get fed. So let me go do that, and then go in for the rest of the evening.